updated my foundation routine since last summer, so it is long overdue, mostly because I've been loving this Gressa foundation so much. They sent this to me a month or two ago, and I've just been reaching for it daily. It is a beautiful foundation with a beautiful finish. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you some of the reasons why I like it so much, and I will go into a full demo so I can show you some of my best practices for applying it. But before I do that, I'm gonna tell you what is on my face right now. For the last couple steps of my skincare routine, I use the Paula's Choice Resist Moisture Renewal Oil Booster just for a little bit of extra moisture on my skin. And then for sunscreen today, I use the Suntegrity 5-in-1 Natural Moisturizing Face Sunscreen. And I'm just about out of this, but I'm happy to say that I opened my Petit Vour box this month and there was a sample of this. So even when I'm done with this, I will have a little bit of a backup sample. And then on my lips, I have the Tata Harper Be Adored Tinted Lip Treatment just for a little bit of hydration on my lips. I'm gonna start with a demo, and my first tip for applying this foundation, you have to shake it really, really well, even a little bit longer than you think you should. If you don't shake it well, you'll end up just getting a bunch of oil. So you really need to give it a good shake to mix the pigment, the mineral pigments, and the oils together. It comes with a dropper, and I found for myself that 4 drops is pretty perfect. So I like to put the drops right on the back of my hand. And hopefully you can see it. I'll try to do a close-up just how runny this is. This is a very water-like foundation. So now I'm just taking a clean finger, blending it together a little bit, and then placing it where I have the most redness, which for me is right in the center of my skin. If you're curious, I'm in shade 02, which is for light skin with pink undertones. And now that I have the foundation applied, I'm going to buff it out with the Gressa foundation. And this is a synthetic buffing brush, and I'm going to use light circular motions to spread the foundation from the center of my face out. This is what 4 drops looks like applied, and this is my perfect amount of coverage for everyday wear. But I do want to show you that this foundation is buildable, so I have 1 more drop and I'm just going to apply it on the center of my nose. That's kind of where I get the most red, so just to show you that it's buildable, and then I'm going to go back in with the buffing brush. I love the finish of this foundation. You saw how liquidy it is on the back of my hand, but once I apply it and buff it out, it turns into a powder. Even though it's a powder, I don't think it looks really flat. I still get a little bit of glowiness, which I absolutely love. And my #1 favorite thing about this foundation is how amazingly it covers redness without feeling heavy. And that's something that I sometimes struggle to find. If you're getting a really great coverage foundation, sometimes it can just feel like it's sitting on top of the skin. But this, it dries to the powder, so it's not feeling tacky, and it really nicely covers the redness in my cheeks without looking like I'm wearing a ton of makeup. At this point in time, my skin is pretty combination. I have a very oily T-zone, but my cheeks and under eyes can be pretty dry. And on me, this foundation lasts really well. The only place I experience a little bit of breakdown is right on the corners of my nose. So if I know that after work I'm going out to dinner, I always keep little blotting sheets and a concealer stick in my purse, and that way I can just do a little bit of touch up. But other than that spot, the foundation lasts really well, and no matter what kind of face product, blush, contour, bronzer, that really lasts well on top of the foundation. As for downsides, there's only 2 I can think of. The first is the scent. When I first got this, I was like, oh, not sure about it. It's a little bit of an unusual scent, and it's a little bit pungent, and I'm not sure if it's the broccoli seed oil or the neem that gives it that smell, but it's kind of grown on me in a weird way. I wouldn't want it in a perfume form, but it doesn't bother me, and it dissipates really quickly. So that's the thing about this scent. But the main thing I think some people might struggle with this foundation is, as with most serum foundations, it does tend to cling into dry patches. So I have to make sure that I prep my skin, and for me, the best thing I have ever found to deal with dry patches is the Paula's Choice Resist Weekly Resurfacing Treatment 10% AHA. I have used this for years. I've been using this since before I made YouTube videos. I use it once a week, and the AHA is the best thing I have found for resurfacing and helping the texture of my skin. And even though I've been using it for so long, the next morning when I've used it that previous night, I'm still always amazed by how great my skin looks. So whatever you need to do to prep your skin and get rid of the dry patches, that's gonna really help the Gressa foundation look better on your skin. So overall, I'm really loving this foundation. I love how nicely it helps me camouflage any redness, and it feels like another step in my skincare routine, not like I'm putting on a really heavy foundation. And it has some amazing ingredients. The main ingredient that's touted is that broccoli seed oil, and I looked up to try to see, what the benefits were, and it does have a lot of antioxidants and essential fatty acids, and that is going to help really retain moisture and help your skin look a lot more luminous. And broccoli seed oil is actually a natural alternative to silicones, which I did not know that before, so I thought that was a really cool aspect about the ingredient. Some other things that stood out to me on the ingredient list are sea buckthorn, licorice root, CoQ10, and neem. So I think this is an awesome natural foundation, mostly because it gives good coverage and it lasts really well on the skin. But I think that's everything I have to say about the foundation. If I left anything out, I will leave some information in the description box, but now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the rest of my face. The next step in my foundation routine is concealing, and I have a few different that I jump between. My favorite, I think, is the NARS Radiant Concealer. I really love that one. I also have the NARS Uncover Up, which I like, and I think my next natural concealer purchase will be the Christopher Drummond. A few of you have recommended that to me. And then other than the NARS, a really nice drugstore alternative is the Maybelline Fit Me. So that's what I'm gonna use today because I'm kind of getting towards the end of that. And this one gives not as much coverage as the NARS, but it's still really good coverage, and I find that this one blends out a little bit easier. I like to apply this with the doe foot applicator, and you'll see that I always try to get some concealer right up here on the side of my nose because that's where a lot of my darkness is. And my favorite way to blend concealer out is with the Real Techniques contour brush. I think this is the perfect size. It's super soft, so it's nice to use around the eye area. I'll also take a little bit of the Fit Me on any spots and then right around the sides of my nose. Now that I have the concealer blended out, I'm gonna take a little bit of the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles. And this is the pink shade, which is meant to brighten it. And I'm just going to use this very sparingly underneath my eyes and kind of pinpoint brighten where I want it because this will crease on me if I use too much. And like I mentioned, my T-zone is pretty oily, so I like to set that with a powder. And as always, I'm gonna use my RMS one, but I've been using it on a new powder brush lately, and I'm just in love with this. This is from the brand It Brushes for Ulta. So it's an Ulta specific one, and it's called the Airbrush Powder Wand number 108. And I love the shape of it. It's almost like a little bit of an egg shape, which is kind of unusual, but it applies powder really nicely. So I'm gonna tap this right in my T-zone, down my nose, and a little bit on my chin. This powder is really light and it doesn't affect the finish of the Gressa foundation. I also always take a little bit of that same powder on a smaller brush. This one again is from Real Techniques, and this is the setting brush. And I like to apply this right underneath my eyes to keep the concealer from creasing and also to help it last a little bit longer. I'm gonna do two more things in this video. They're not technically part of the foundation routine, but there's something I do pretty much every day. The first is to add a little bit of a liquid highlighter. This is the Gressa Minimalist Illuminating Serum, and I mentioned this in my Spring Essentials video because I love it. And just like the foundation, this really needs to be shaken really well, and it comes in the same little dropper format. So I like to apply just a single drop to the back of my hand. This is a pink toned lavendery highlight, which is perfect for someone with my complexion, and you can see that a single drop is more than you need. I've applied it a few different ways, but I think I just like it with my finger best. So I like to just lightly tap it along my cheekbones and press it into the skin. This is a super natural highlight. There's no glitter or shimmer. It just gives a really cool kind of opalescent sheen. Last but not least, I'm gonna do my eyebrows. And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of my haul from the recent Sephora sale. And one item I got that I'm so excited that Sephora is carrying now is this Eco Brow. And this is a natural alternative to something like the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. So I was excited that Sephora has started carrying some more natural products lately. And the packaging is super cute. It's actually really small. And I got the shade Rita, which is for people with auburn hair. So I wasn't sure if this was gonna be a good shade match, but my initial impressions, I've just been using it for a couple days. I really like it so far. And I also bought the brush that comes with it. So I'm just going to brush up my brows really quick and then use the angled brush to apply the product throughout. I like to start at the bottom and create a line, and then I'll take the excess product and just flick it up through my brows. And then as I'm working, I keep using the spoolie to brush out excess product so it's never looking too harsh. That is all for my current foundation routine, and I hope maybe you found some new products or some useful information. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. We actually have a little bit of time before we have to leave, so I might go ahead and just keep filming myself getting ready and use some other new products I got in that Sephora haul. And if I do that, I will go ahead and upload it as a bonus video maybe on Friday, depending on when I can get to editing it. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again real soon.